Where do you get the greatest sensation of speed?
It's probably when you hit the wall.
Box, box, box. Box, 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 box.
Hi, I'm talking Tyre. Every episode, 3 guests in the box to break down what's soft, medium, and hard. Let's check it out.
Welcome to Box, 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 a quick pit stop into the world of Formula One. Episode 1 is about speed, and to talk us through this, we have a world champion, a team principal, and a member of the FIA's technical team. First up, the champ.
Box, box, box.
Max, how are you?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, good to be here.
Well, it's nice to see you, and we're in the what I call the long haul part of the season as well. Do you enjoy the long distance races?
Of course, this year I think is a bit different, where you do some races, then you have a break again, and then the last bit of the season is coming very quickly with the triple headers kicking in. So, it's important to be ready for it, but also, of course, take your time at home and rest up in between.
The theme for this episode, and I feel you touched on it a bit there, is speed. All right?
Yeah.
How important is speed to Max Verstappen?
I guess in a way, in my professional life, it's very important. At home, not so much. I mean, it's actually more important, I think, to take the speed out and actually relax and,
So,
be slow.
well, look, let's talk about the speed bit first, right? If you haven't been in the car for 2 months over the winter, do you miss it? Do you start doing crazy things on jet skis just to get the speed buzz, to get the adrenaline going?
No, not really. Maybe like 7-8 years ago, a little bit more. Now, I think slowly you really want to take your rest, and you don't think about racing too much, and you take your time off. But then, when you jump back in the Formula 1 car, you know that it's going to be quick, the acceleration, everything, so you're kind of like prepared for it. But I remember, of course, the very first time that I jumped in a Formula 1 car, it was almost like I couldn't keep up with the speed because I've never experienced something like that. It's like in a road car, when you go from first to second, that kind of acceleration, it's like non-stop in a Formula 1 car initially. And then your body gets used to it more and more. But in the beginning, it was quite a shock, yeah.
Max, I love what you did there. You felt like you were my age. You went, when you go from first to second.
Yeah, well, I
was like,
still,
oh my God, stick shift.
Yeah. I'm not thinking, with the pedals behind the wheel.
Now, look, one of the things you do is a lot of sim racing, of course. Do you get the same sensation of speed on a simulator that you do in real life?
No, not the speed sensation. That only really happens in real life, because on a simulator, of course, you go fast, you go the same speed, but if you hit the wall or whatever, it's not hurting. You press restart and you go again in practice. In real life, if you hit the wall, first of all, you damage your car, which will take a long time to repair. Plus, you might hurt yourself. So there is always a bit more of an element of awareness. You're more aware of what can happen. On the simulator, it just keeps your brain functioning. You're always fired up, thinking about the same things that you do throughout the race weekend as well in real life. And I just enjoy being competitive and, trying to win at the end of the day. I mean, you do the same thing.
Where do you get the greatest sensation of speed? Somewhere like Monaco, slowest track on the calendar, walls are close, or Monza?
It's probably when you hit the wall. Then you really feel that it's actually going really fast, because even in Monaco, like in qualifying, yes, it's very fast. You realize it's very fast, but only when you hit something, then you realize, oh, we're actually going really fast. So, of course, the closer to the walls, probably on a street circuit, you realize, like, this is crazy. But, I mean, the same when you go to, like, Mexico City and you go, again, like 360 or whatever, it also feels fast,
Are there any types of circuit you'd like to see more of on the F1 calendar? Like, can I put
Mugello.
one to you? Oh, Mugello, great track.
Yeah.
Long straight there.
Fast corners.
And fast corners.
Just flowing tracks, so not too many like low speed stop start, just flowing fast corners.
So it's the permanent tracks for you. It's the Mugellos, the Silverstones,
Yeah.
the
Spa.
Zandvoorts, the Spas, right?
Yeah. Suzuka.
What about an oval?
On a F1 calendar?
Yeah.
No.
Because you kind of got that at Zandvoort. Last corner, turn 4.
Yeah. No. Not for me.
No, but just out of interest, why?
I like to do it for fun online, but not in real life.
So you have done like Indy online?
Yeah, Indy, NASCAR. Yeah. But I like to watch it, not to drive it myself.
Even on your own, just for a test?
I've driven in a F1 car on like kind of a bank, like a oval.
Right.
Yeah, but no, it's not my.
All right. Well, look, while we're talking ovals, I guess I'm thinking all things American, and I've got a would you rather question for you, right? Would you rather do a road trip across America or a road trip across Australia? Because east-west, they're about the same distance.
Well, I've done already kind of a road trip in the US, so I would do then the road trip in Australia.
Can you tell me a little bit about the trip in the US? Where'd you go?
So I did like LA, Vegas through that valley. I went to see the big trees at Sequoia, did Yosemite, went all the way to San Francisco, then went back through the coast, stopped at like Carmel, back to LA with some stops.
Amazing.
So yeah, it was nice.
In a what?
In a SUV.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And we just stopped at local hotels along the way.
well, look, Max, it's been fabulous to have you on the show. Thank you for your time. One last thing. This is Tyre.
I have a few of those at home.
Well, you've got a lot. What is it? More than 40. But this one will talk to you.
This one.
If you
This
click
particular one?
This particular one. If you click your fingers.
I can't do that. Can you do it?
Are you ready?
Here's Tyre question. What kind of personality are you? Soft, medium, hard?
Personality, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it depends, because I think you need to have a tough mentality in racing, even to get to Formula One. Personally, in your personal life, probably you can be a bit more soft.
So hard and soft.
So I'm probably in the middle then, medium, because I'm a hard and a soft, so
All right.
medium. I'll go for a medium.
Max, thank you very much. Great to see you.
Box.
Next, the FIA. They are front and centre in Formula One. They dictate the regulations that decide the speed of the cars. So let's hear from the man who fronts their technical team.
Box.
Next to box, we have Nikolas Tombazis, the FIA's Director of Single-Seaters. Nicholas, great to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm well. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I suppose my first question for you is a broad topic about Formula One. What, in your opinion, makes F1 the pinnacle of motorsport?
Well, I guess speed is one of them, but I would say also the skill required by the drivers. It's not just speed. Speed by itself is quite easy. On a straight line, you can go a lot faster. But I think it's a combination of high speed and the skill required by the drivers and the engineering that goes behind it. It's not a one-make series. People compete, different cars, different big companies involved, putting all their best engineers in it. So I think that's what makes it very special.
You've worked both sides of the fence. You've worked for teams. You're now with the FIA, obviously. As the sports regulator, what is the FIA's most important role?
Probably the most important, and what comes first is safety. And safety is clearly, I think, something we can never be complacent on, but overall, a lot of people, not myself, have put on a huge amount of effort, and we've got motorsport Formula One today, which is considering it is always inherently dangerous, it's relatively safe considering. So safety is first. Then, of course, to be fair, we wanted to be fair and people the best person to win. But we also care about being relevant for society in the directions technology are going, and we also do care about finally that's top priority, our customer, i.e. there's so many millions of people who watch it, who want to see an entertaining race and have excitement and not knowing who's going to win and so on, and that's also part of the objectives, yes.
And isn't 2024 a perfect example of what you've just described? But
it's getting much better, isn't it? Yeah.
Now, you've worked for teams, as I say. How has that experience helped you on this side of the fence, the regulator side?
I think it's very important because the perspective of teams, everyone out here in the paddock loves the sport and wants the sport to be healthy and successful, but they also love themselves and they love winning, and their objective is always to win. We FA don't care who wins. We just want it to be a healthy sport. So when you know how teams operate, the perspective of knowing they will push every regulation to the limit, they will always try to find the, let's say, the unfair advantage if possible within the legality and so on, and appreciating that mentality of not leaving a single stone unturned, I think is quite important when you do this job.
So you were that person who wasn't leaving a stone unturned when you were, well, particularly when you were at Ferrari. When you were chief designer at a Formula One team, how important was it for you that the cars look beautiful?
I guess the cars look beautiful when they're winning. Then everyone says, what a beautiful looking car. My fondest memories are the 2007 and 2008 cars, for example. These were very special to me. They did quite a lot of winning. They won championships, and those look fantastic when they win. Cars that don't win don't look so good, generally speaking.
Generally speaking, do you think beautiful cars do win? If you're being objective about their beauty.
It's a bit like the mother and child relationship. I don't think a mother would ever say, my child isn't that beautiful, because for obvious reasons. And I think it is very difficult when you've been working on a car with hundreds of people for like a year to be completely objective about its beauty. Now, I think it is important for the rules to be pushing cars towards being beautiful, and we pay a lot of attention on it nowadays in the FIA, that the rules do lead to what we think are beautiful cars. And the priority when you're designing cars is to be fast and to win, hopefully, and I think beauty comes with that.
In case you're wondering why I'm asking Nikolas Tombazis about the beauty of cars, there is actually a reason, and that is that you come from a very artistic family, in that your father was an architect.
Yes.
You're good at drawing, clearly. Was there a little bit of disappointment in the family that you didn't go and become an architect?
I think there was an expectation I would be an architect in some ways, and I guess coming to this beauty question, my father always used to say there's beauty in itself is not good enough if it's not functional, and vice versa. So it's got to be both. It can't be just beautiful and dysfunctional, or vice versa. And I think that's something I've always stayed well in my heart. I guess initially hearing, yes, he's going to be an engineer compared to an architect, there was a bit of a disappointment in that respect. I think then when it got together with Formula One, I think I compensated a bit.
Beauty and function together. It sounds like your dad could have been a designer of Formula One cars. Look,
Yeah.
But final one from me, Nick. I wanted to throw it forward to 2026. New regulations, technical regulations coming in. How much have you enjoyed the process of coming up with those regs?
It is one of the satisfying part of the jobs. It's also frustrating because there's a lot of people with different opinions or with strong opinions, and there's a lot of discussion and everyone gets extremely passionate, so these discussions are not easy. But overall, the feeling of working with a team to shape the future of the sport is very satisfying. It's one of the big nice things of the job.
I think this is a good moment for us to throw it forward to my good friend Tyre, relevant to what we've just been talking about. Now, Nick, if you click your fingers just above Tyre, she's going to ask you a question.
Okay, is that an AI type Tyre?
Here's Tyre question. What kind of personality are you? Soft, medium, hard?
I think I'll probably go for medium. I think so. That's yellow, yes, that's yellow stripe on the tire.
Why medium, can I ask?
Because I always try to find a compromise. I think in my job it's important to try to find compromises, not to push things to the limit, but it's also important to resist pressures and influences too much. So you can't be either too soft or too hard. You need to be somewhere in the middle.
All right, Nikolas, thank you very much. Thank you.
Box, box, box.
And finally, the team principal, whose outfit is showing great speed this year, and they're challenging for both World Championships.
Box, box, box.
Next to Box, 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 we have McLaren team principal Andrea Stella. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
It's great to see you.
Thank you. And you?
Now, we're talking speed. What is the secret to unlocking speed in Formula One?
You can unlock speed in many ways. Like you actually need multiple factors that contribute to the speed. Now I'm thinking the speed of the car. Like you may have good aerodynamics, but it doesn't work very well if you don't have a good engine, and doesn't work very well if you don't have good suspension, and above all if you don't have a grip from the tires. So you need multiple factors, and I think it's fascinating that you need to work on all these factors to maximize the speed, and ultimately the speed is what makes the difference in this competitive sport.
What do you focus on more? The minimum speed or the top speed?
I think I'm more one of the minimum speed. Like I'd rather take the speed in the corners. It's easier to get the top speed. It's more difficult to get the speed in the corners, so that's what I would focus the most. It's the least glamorous. I think people get more attracted by the top speed, but it's the one that is more important for lap time, which ultimately is what we want to maximize from a performance point of view.
So, a slightly more philosophical question, right? Do Formula One cars need to be the fastest in the world?
100%. I think even my own personal interest, which is not very relevant for the big public, but for myself it is. I think I wouldn't be as fascinated, as motivated to try and make or contribute to make the fastest car if it wasn't the absolute fastest car moving object on the ground on a racetrack in absolute terms. So I think it's important that Formula One achieves this goal of being the fastest car, and it's important that we preserve a certain unique sense of how fast these Formula One cars are, and this needs to happen also across technical regulation changes. Like we do want to preserve this unique character. You want to preserve almost a wow factor associated to the minimum and the top speed.
Now, McLaren are going great guns this year. You're battling for the World Championship. You've done that before, of course. 25-year career in Formula One. You've battled for championships, of course, with Ferrari. First up, how special is this moment with McLaren?
It's definitely a special moment. I think you say the right word, is special. I would add is almost unexpected. Like I would say 12 months ago, would have never thought that I would be talking about championships. But it's just the result of the work of a very strong team. You know, all the McLaren team have done an incredible hard work, high quality, which gave the speed in the car to then be able to compete for podiums, from victories, and then over the course of a season, this puts the team in a position to think about championships, which, as you say, is special, is a great feeling. It doesn't change our attitude. We are people with feet on the ground. We will keep our feet on the ground and try and actually add more and more speed to the car, because we want to stay in this privileged position. But if we don't improve, the others are going to pass us.
You talk about feet on the ground. You're not going to change how you go about Formula One. How different is McLaren to Ferrari, where you were before?
Interesting question, like could be expanded in and it would require some time, but in reality they are I would say less different than people think, you know, like the way in which you try and generate the speed in the car, the way in which you go racing, the operations, the logistics, the technical aspects, they are actually based on the same fundamentals.
Andrea, what would Enzo Ferrari make of you now working for McLaren? You're a garagiste now.
Okay, that's an interesting question. I think after 15 years at Ferrari, probably his first reaction would be upset, and he would say, "What is this guy doing there?" But I think his second thought would be, hopefully, will be a little proud that somebody that grew up at Ferrari, learned ultimately most of what I learned at Ferrari, and then I was able to contribute to the growth of another team, which is the reason why he would be upset, but I think he would be proud that Ferrari is such a great school, and actually you go somewhere else and you can contribute. So I think he would flip between these two kind of feelings.
Look, final one from me. You've worked with a lot of brilliant racing drivers. I'm thinking Alonso, I'm thinking Schumacher, I'm thinking the guys you've got now, Lando and Oscar. Is there one thing that links all of the great drivers that they all have other than speed?
I would have said speed. So you spoiled my answer.
Is it attitude? Do they all have a similar attitude, a similar passion?
Well, I think attitude, passion, yes, of course, but I think there's at least two elements. One is the talent, like they can do the things they do. You know, like many of us, we can't. Like they can do that. This is the talent, this is the development of the ability in driving so fast and in driving so precisely. So the ability and talent. And the other one, all of them, they have a pretty, high level of intelligence. Just the brain processing is particularly extraordinary, I would say. So I think they are individuals that are very capable, and they would be capable in other sectors in terms of these mental capabilities. So it's the talent and the mental gift that they have.
Andrea, it's been brilliant to have you on the show. While we're talking sort of personality traits, I'd like to introduce you to Tyre, who has a question for you. But for her to ask the question, you have to click your fingers. Can you do that?
Click. Yeah. Right. Okay, let's see,
Here's Tyre question. What kind of personality are you? Soft, medium, hard?
That's impressive. That was the Tyre.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I think I've always thought I'm sort of a C3 compound because it's good for all kind of tracks. So I would say I'm a Pirelli C3.
And I guess with your team principal hat on, you have to be able to navigate everything, don't you?
That's exactly the case. You have to be good for all kind of demands, requirements. You can't say I'm only good in the Monza kind of tracks, because then you go to Monaco and what do we do? You still have to do a good job.
Yeah. Andrea, great to have you on. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Box, box, box.
Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this episode of Box Box Box, please share with your friends. And also look out for the next episode, which is going to be all about education. Bye for now.